I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious. Albert Einstein. If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. Albert Einstein. The secret of creativity is knowing how to hide your sources. Albert Einstein. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. Albert Einstein. In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. Coco Chanel. Science is organized knowledge. Wisdom is organized life. Immanuel Kant. I think, therefore I am. René Descartes. You must first have a lot of patience to learn to have patience. Stanislaw Jerzy Lec. Silence is golden when you can't think of a good answer. Muhammad Ali. There is more to life than increasing its speed. Mahatma Gandhi. If the facts don't fit the theory, change the facts. Albert Einstein. Happiness in intelligent people is the rarest thing I know. Ernest Hemingway. Classic, a book which people praise and don't read. Mark Twain. Success is easy to obtain, what is difficult is to deserve it. Albert Camus. Wisdom is the daughter of experience. Leonardo da Vinci. The young man knows the rules, but the old man knows the exceptions. Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr. Any fool can know. The point is to understand. Albert Einstein. Experience is the teacher of all things. Julius Caesar. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. Albert Einstein. Wisdom begins in wonder. Socrates. Thinking is more interesting than knowing, but less interesting than looking. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. You don't have to burn books to destroy a culture. Just get people to stop reading them. Ray Bradbury. The fool wonders, the wise man asks. Benjamin Disraeli. The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. Peter Drucker. You do not really understand something unless you can explain it to your grandmother. Albert Einstein. As I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do. Andrew Carnegie. All art is autobiographical, the pearl is the oyster's autobiography. Federico Fellini. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Albert Einstein. Memory is the mother of all wisdom. Aeschylus. You can never be overdressed or overeducated. Oscar Wilde. He who knows, does not speak. He who speaks, does not know. Lao Tzu. To be prepared is half the victory. Miguel de Cervantes. Experience is not what happens to a man, it is what a man does with what happens to him. Aldous Huxley. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Mahatma Gandhi. He was a wise man who invented beer. Plato. Anyone who conducts an argument by appealing to authority is not using his intelligence, he is just using his memory. Leonardo da Vinci. The only source of knowledge is experience. Albert Einstein. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. Marcus Aurelius. All types of knowledge ultimately mean self-knowledge. Bruce Lee. If you want to understand the meaning of happiness, you have to understand it as a reward and not as a goal. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Only the wisest and stupidest of men never change. Confucius. Sorrow is knowledge, those that know the most must mourn the deepest, the tree of knowledge is not the tree of life. Lord Byron. It is much more difficult to judge oneself than to judge others. If you succeed in judging yourself rightly, then you are indeed a man of true wisdom. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his error. Cicero. The man with insight enough to admit his limitations comes nearest to perfection. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Wisdom is not a product of schooling but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. Albert Einstein. However beautiful the strategy, you should occasionally look at the results. Winston Churchill. Wisdom consists of the anticipation of consequences. Norman Cousins. Perfection is achieved, not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Lao Tzu. Knowing others is wisdom, knowing yourself is enlightenment. Lao Tzu. Always do sober what you said you'd do drunk. That will teach you to keep your mouth shut. Ernest Hemingway. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert Einstein. If 50 million people say a foolish thing, it is still a foolish thing. Anatole France. To know what you know and what you do not know, that is true knowledge. Confucius. We have 2 ears and 1 tongue so that we would listen more and talk less. Diogenes. Only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked. Warren Buffett. All great truths begin as blasphemies. George Bernard Shaw. A fool thinks himself to be wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool. William Shakespeare. We are made wise not by the recollection of our past, but by the responsibility for our future. George Bernard Shaw. He who does not know foreign languages does not know anything about his own. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. Confucius. The things I know, every man can know, but, oh, my heart is mine alone. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. All theory, dear friend, is grey, but the golden tree of life springs ever green. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. Confucius. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Warren Buffett. Beware of false knowledge, it is more dangerous than ignorance. George Bernard Shaw. Science is the captain, and practice the soldiers. Leonardo da Vinci. Quick decisions are unsafe decisions. Sophocles. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Charles Darwin. Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, but it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. Dale Carnegie. Where there is shouting, there is no true knowledge. Leonardo da Vinci. I am not young enough to know everything. Oscar Wilde. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom. Bertrand Russell. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge but imagination. Albert Einstein. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. Henry Ford. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. Warren Buffett. The window to the world can be covered by a newspaper. Stanislaw Jerzy Lec. He who thinks little, errs much. Leonardo da Vinci. As soon as you trust yourself, you will know how to live. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. To be happy we must not be too concerned with others. Albert Camus. Most people spend more time and energy going around problems than in trying to solve them. Henry Ford. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Leonardo da Vinci. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Mahatma Gandhi. The truest wisdom is a resolute determination. Napoleon Bonaparte. There is no friend as loyal as a book. Ernest Hemingway. Learning never exhausts the mind. Leonardo da Vinci. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. Stephen Hawking. Get your facts first, then you can distort them as you please. Mark Twain. When it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. Confucius. True knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. Socrates. At the center of your being you have the answer, you know who you are and you know what you want. Lao Tzu. Wisdom is found only in truth. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Anger is a brief madness. Horace. Strength does not come from physical capacity but from indomitable will. Mahatma Gandhi. If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. Seneca. It is quality rather than quantity that matters. Seneca. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. Immanuel Kant. Measure what is measurable, and make measurable what is not so. Galileo Galilei. You only have to do a very few things right in your life so long as you don't do too many things wrong. Warren Buffett.